This is Dudes Who Bet Sports.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Sports. We're 1 minute early, Papa Dude. You can tell how excited we are for the week. We're back. We're ready to rock and roll. Are you ready for what seems like the biggest week of the season so far for us?
Well, it is for us.
Yeah.
If you're an OU fan,
Yeah.
We got some good games this week in college football, and the NFL is always interesting. So yeah, let's get to it.
All right, let's do it. We'll get right to the games, and I'll pull them up now. We've got a big weekend in college football. We'll talk about our games soon enough, but we got to go through the ranked opponents. We got to go through everybody, obviously, like we do every week. And it starts tomorrow. There is a game tonight. It's an unranked matchup, but tomorrow night starts the ranked matchup. This is a pretty good game. Illinois at Nebraska, both teams undefeated. I think both teams are good. I still don't know how good either one of them are, though. What do you think about this game here in Lincoln?
Well, you're forgetting our first segment.
What's
our
that?
Winners, our losers are.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you bored with that?
Yeah.
You are?
Well, you can implement them as we talk.
All right.
About the
Okay,
games.
we'll
How
do
about
that.
that?
All right, we'll go your way.
Okay.
How shocked were you that Illinois was ranked?
Pretty shocked.
Me too. I can't believe this. I guess they did beat Kansas, but who isn't beating Kansas?
Yeah, and just real quick to jump in on that, if you watch Kansas play UNLV, you do kind of realize they're not very good.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're a ranked team, you got to win that game at home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Illinois, it's kind of cool that they're ranked. I don't think they'll be ranked in the top 25 when the season's over.
No.
And I don't think they'll be ranked after this game as well. So, I listen to some guys on OU podcasts, and they're, thinking just how crazy it's going to be in Lincoln tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's the first time they've had ranked opponents in there, but they actually have a chance to win. And it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I do think college football is better when Nebraska's good. I don't know if they're good. I don't think we're going to know for another 2 or 3 weeks after this one. But this is a game they got to win. I think they're better than Illinois, and they're at home. I'm going to pick them to cover. I think they beat them.
Yeah, a few comments on this. Kevin says the Dylan Raiola kid is pretty weird. I don't know if you've been following. He basically has just mimicked Patrick Mahomes' style. Like he looks just like him. Talking about pregame, obviously. So it is interesting.
That's okay.
We kind of talked about it, and Mike brings it up, and you talked about it, before the season started. It's like Nebraska's path to a great season record-wise, it's not tough. And this is a game that I still don't know if this is going to be that tough of a game.
I don't either. I think they're going to beat them pretty easy. And because I don't think Illinois should be ranked. I'm shocked when I saw that. Kevin, Nebraska fans always have big heads.
Yeah.
We've been around them for a lot of times. They're pretty goofy. They really are. They're good fans, but they're a little strange.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They got nothing else up there in Nebraska to worry about. But I just think Illinois is way overrated. Nebraska, I had them ranked in the top 25 in my preseason because of the schedule. And if the quarterback was good enough, the first 7 games were definitely winnable.
Yeah. And
they dodge a lot of the good teams in the Big Ten. So I think they can win 9 for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I know that back end, you got Ohio State. They're not going to beat them. And I think they might play. I don't think they play anyone else.
Yeah, it's not hard. I'm going to pull it up right now. I've got it.
Yeah,
I've got my book out here. Hold on,
yeah,
I got to find them.
Just look at it.
It's very light, and this is a game like
they have Iowa.
Yeah. So what you've got Illinois at Purdue, Rutgers at Indiana. So those are games.
Those games are, if they're good, they win those.
Right. The Indiana game might be a little bit tougher than you think. They look decent enough, but
Rutgers is decent.
They also have UCLA, who's not good.
They're terrible.
Their tough games are at, on paper at least, are at Ohio State, which obviously tough. At USC, which looks tough.
Yeah.
Wisconsin at home, and then at Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, can't they win one of those 4?
Yeah, and if they can, and they could be 9-3. Yeah,
They could. So they've got a good shot. Matt Rule is a hell of a football coach. I don't care what happened to him in Carolina. It doesn't make any difference. He's
yeah.
won at Temple, and he turned it around at Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
After Art Briles destroyed it, Rule went back in and built it back up.
Yep.
He's a hell of a football coach. He's a college football coach.
Yeah, he is, and I think year one versus year two, you kind of saw that jump at Baylor as well, and I think you'll see it in Nebraska. Look, Nebraska is a 7.5-point favorite. That is a key number. That's a number we'll talk about a lot. So you're basically saying they have to. Well, not basically. You are saying if you're taking Nebraska, you think they're going to win by 2 scores.
I do.
I think they're going to win by 2 scores. I'm with you.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a fun game, though.
I think it'd be a fun game. I kind of side. Well, hold on. There it is, Kevin's. It could be a situation where Illinois keeps it close, but they never really threaten to win. I could see that, but I think there's too much offense in Nebraska for this game, and I think they'll end up beating them. It might only be a 10-point win, but I do think it's going to be a double-digit win.
Yeah, I do too. And speaking of coaches, Bielema is a good coach as well. He's a good coach. He had some struggles in Arkansas, but a lot of people are having struggles in Arkansas. So
yeah,
he's a good coach, and he's done a good job at Illinois as well.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. All right, let's go on to Saturday. Let's go on to a couple that shouldn't be too much of a game. We'll start with this one, Marshall and Ohio State. Ohio State's looked good for 2 weeks. 2 weeks they played at least. They're going to probably look good here. Any thoughts on this game at all?
No, this is just another easy game for them.
I think this next one is a little bit interesting. North Carolina State has not looked good, but they are 2-1. Their only loss was to Tennessee. They go on the road. They get 20 points at Clemson. Clemson basically no good week 1. Looked pretty good week 2. They destroyed Appalachian State.
Mm-hmm.
As weak as the ACC looks, Clemson is in the conversation to win the conference for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this game?
This is a kind of a game where we're going to see what Clemson is. Mm-hmm. If they cover this, I think they're pretty good. And, in the ACC, it's not that tough. Looks like Miami looks like they're better than anybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just in there. Anybody's got a shot after that. And, Miami's going to lose somewhere. So I don't know if they cover this one. I really don't. 20's a lot. NC State has struggled.
Yeah.
That Tennessee game, they gave Tennessee some points that kind of blew that game open. They didn't have the offense to keep up with them. You can't give Tennessee points. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's got this spread at being 20. They've not been that impressive. I'm going to stay away from it because I just don't know enough about can they hang in there. I don't know. Clemson's a hard place to play.
It's a total stay away game for me as well.
Yeah.
I hope for our sake that Clemson wins by about 50 points and we go, see, Tennessee's not that good, but I don't know. I don't really know what Clemson is. I think I do.
I think they win for sure.
I do too. I think Clemson wins the game. I don't want to lay 20 with them, but I also don't really want to bet North Carolina State. So it's kind of, it's just kind of one of those. I stay away, but I would lean Clemson to win. I don't know if they cover this one or not. It's a weird game. All right, let's keep going. Arkansas State goes on the road to take on Iowa State. Iowa State ranked. You could probably say that's kind of weird that they're ranked. They're there. They basically took Iowa's spot because they beat them. I mean, that's what this is. 21.5 is a lot for Iowa State to cover. I will say that.
I would jump all over this one and take Arkansas State, except for 2 reasons. Number one, Iowa State has had a week off. Probably the biggest win they've had in a long time because beating Iowa, came from behind and beat them. If they'd have taken on Arkansas State with a 21.5-point spread last week, I would have taken Arkansas State. The other factor is this. Arkansas State went toe-to-toe in the Big House with Michigan last week. Mm-hmm. That's hard to come back off of that game and with anything left in the tank when you're Arkansas State. They played well last week. They got beat by 10 points to Michigan. I don't care if Michigan's bad or not. That's still going up there when you're Arkansas State and playing them that close. That's an emotional thing.
Oh, for sure.
Now they got to turn right around and go into Ames and play an Iowa State team that's had a week off to get over the Iowa game. But can Iowa State win by 22 points? I don't know. Yeah. I don't think they can beat anybody by 22 points. So I would take Arkansas State to cover this.
I would too. I hate to say this with back-to-back games, but I don't have a real good feel. I don't really want to play this game.
No.
I don't feel that comfortable. Again, if you're going to make me take a side, I would take Arkansas State on the points. But at the end of the day, like when you go to bet this game, I don't feel comfortable taking either one. Iowa State, you never feel good about laying 21.5 with a team like Iowa State.
No.
So it's a toughie for me.
And Arkansas State's got some offense.
Arkansas State seems better for sure. So I think you would take Arkansas State or you pass in this game, and I'm going to choose to pass it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Iowa State, they're trying to build towards, getting over that 6 or 7 win hump, get to that 8 or 9 win hump, and we'll see if they can do it. All right, let's keep going. Kent State and Penn State. We've seen Penn State kind of struggle at times after really impressive, I thought, week 1. They come up here. This Kent State team they're brutally bad. 49-point favorites, though. I don't even want to lay that or not, but I think Penn State gets right this week.
You think they will get right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. But you want to start off, okay, if you want to bet Penn State, just look at it this way. You start the game, Penn State's ahead 49-0.
Yeah.
Because they got that kind of team that I don't know. So I wouldn't bet it at all. Look at the ticket price, $7. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, well, this is a pretty bad game. And I'm with you, like laying 49 points I don't really ever do it. If it was 38, maybe I'd do it, but I'm with you. Yeah. But it's a nothing game. But listen, it's a nothing game, but Penn State needs to look good in this game.
Oh, they do.
Whether that means they win 40-0 or 40-7 or they actually cover, they still need to look good in the game.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So, all right, let's keep going here. Let's go to this is a huge game.
Yes, it is.
People are shitting on Michigan, but this could be a get right game for Michigan, or this could be a big time win. I don't care if Michigan's bad or not. This would be a big win for USC. USC at Michigan, big house will be rocking again. USC is a 5.5-point favorite on the road at Michigan. They've looked bad. Talking about Michigan, there's no doubt. This is still a test, though, for this USC team. What do you think about this one?
Michigan has no offense,
and that's where I think you've got to go with USC.
You have to. I was listening to 2 guys I really respect, and it shows me their hatred for Lincoln Riley. I'm talking Oklahoma guys.
Yeah,
who their bias was just showing. They both picked Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how you can pick Michigan in this game. They've played Arkansas State was one of their wins, and Fresno was the other one. Fresno's decent. So is Arkansas State. But if you're going to beat USC, don't you have to score more than – I mean, they struggled with both of those teams, and then Texas just slaughtered them.
Yep.
They're unsure who their quarterback is. I've been impressed with USC.
Yeah.
They've had an extra week to get ready. I like the Trojans to go in there and win.
So you said the quarterback situation, and I will say through 3 weeks, that kid that they're playing was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying he's going to be awful his whole life. He was really not good in those 3 games. So they're going to go to the guy who was the backup last year. They're going to go to Orgy. It's basically what Kevin O's right. What they're going to try to do is run over USC. When you switch into this kid, you kind of know what it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of zone reads. It's going to be a lot of quarterback runs. It's going to be a lot of handoffs where we're just running up the middle. The reason why this kid didn't play, even though he was a part of that team last year that won the national championship, the reason why he didn't play is pretty clear. He can't throw the ball.
Right.
So they're going to go into this game and saying, well, the other kid can't throw it either. So we're going to go into this game and we're going to line up and we're going to try to run over USC. I'm here to tell you that would have worked last year. They would move the ball on last year's USC team. This is that, and that's why I keep going back. This is a test for this USC defense.
Well, it is.
Because can they stop the run against a team that still has guys that can run the football? They're not anything what they were, and I'm not saying let's talk about Michigan, but they still, with this game plan, they're going to line up and they're going to just try to run over them. Can USC not get ran over is my question.
Well, LSU didn't run over them. I'm going to go with that.
They sure didn't, and I don't, and that's why Rob's right. An important part of playing quarterback, you got to be able to throw it.
I think you do. Rob's absolutely right. In today's college football, you got to be able to throw the ball. And, like you're right. Last year's Michigan would have ran over USC, but this ain't last year's Michigan. This ain't last year's USC.
I'm talking this year's Michigan would run over last year's USC.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody did. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay. Michigan hasn't run over anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't run over Arkansas State. USC is a hell of a lot better than Arkansas State.
I think their hope is, okay, we're scrapping the passing game basically, and we're gonna put Orgy in the game, and we just hope that his running threat opens up. Not only can he run the ball successfully, but it opens up our backs, and maybe they've literally made the decision. Well, we have to go with him.
Well, what you're telling me is they suck.
Yeah, exactly. They suck. I think that's what it is. And look, I think defensively, they're still good enough to if they can have any success offensively against USC, they can win the game. But it's just, I just don't have any confidence that that's going to happen. And the other part of it is, you watch the kid they were playing at quarterback, you had to know he wasn't very good. They're telling you they think he was better than Orgy. So I just don't see
they went 3
path
games
for Michigan to win.
I don't either. And what do you think this line would be if it was Michigan at USC? I think it'd be 12.
I think so too. Yeah.
So I just think this is a game. I'll be surprised if USC loses.
I would be too. I think the Trojans cover. Rodney says 34-10. Look, it could get out of hand if they cannot move the ball. Talk about Michigan. If they can't move it at all, that could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be more like 24-10, 27-13 type of game, but 34-10 is not out of the equation if Michigan has no success again.
Right.
And again, it is in some ways a very big test, and I don't care what people say. It is a big test for this USC defense. If they can go totally shut down the run again, they're making progress. So it's going to be interesting. No doubt. But we're both on the Trojans. We both think the Trojans cover in this one. Let's keep going. UCLA, they were pretty embarrassing, getting stomped by Indiana. And they now go on the road to LSU. LSU a 24-point favorite. Now, let's flip it to LSU for a second, because they've kind of been a disaster through 3 weeks in a lot of ways. This feels like a get-right game. It feels like LSU should cover.
They're going to beat the shit out of them, I think.
Don't you feel like this could be like 40-0 type game?
UCLA is awful.
They're bad.
They are bad. LSU escaped last week, as you like to say, because of the uniform and the fact that they're LSU and South Carolina is South Carolina. That was a really good win for them. I don't care what anybody says. You can make fun of them, whatever you want to do. That was a tough game to go win. And they held on there, did enough to win it. Those are the kind of games that get you rolling. And I thought their quarterback played well in that game, which they need him to play well. They got to get their defense straightened out. They're struggling on defense. They did last year as well. So LSU used to be so tough defensively. They're really not. I kind of agree. I think UCLA's they're bad. I think LSU names the score.
Through 2 games, I agree with what Kevin said and what both the Kevin said, Kevin O and Kevin B. They're really bad. You think about the first game when they played Hawaii, they should have lost that game. They should have. In Hawaii's no good. And then the last week, they got embarrassed at home by Indiana. I mean, bad. So I'm totally with you. This is one of my best bets. I will lay the 24 points with LSU. I think it should be higher. So
I do too.
I'm with you. All right, how about Notre Dame? I mean,
There we go.
This is getting crazy, this Notre Dame situation. Of course,
Yeah.
a nice win against Texas A&M on the road. They weren't that impressive, but it's still impressive to go win the game. Of course, they lose to Northern Illinois the next week. Northern Illinois is not a bad team, okay? But
No.
they shouldn't go to Notre Dame and win. And then Notre Dame goes to Purdue and wins 66-7 last week. A shocker, not that they won or even that they covered. They won 66-7. I mean, that's a shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got another MAC team coming into South Bend. I mean, surely they're going to show up and play really well. But
yeah, and you can't look at Miami's record. They played a couple of pretty good teams.
Yeah.
You know, they played Power 5 teams, I believe. But I know Cincinnati is one of them. I can't remember who they played in the first week.
And they played Cincinnati fairly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whoever they played on, that was really good the first week. I can't remember who it was, but they played a pretty good opponent. It was somebody.
Well, no, Cincinnati. They went to Northwestern and lost by 7.
Oh, it's Northwestern. Okay.
And then they played Cincinnati and they lost by 11. Now, neither one of those two teams they played are that good, but they also were competitive. I mean, they're a middle of the road type team.
And they're similar to Northern Illinois. And Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame.
I think Northern Illinois is a better team than
they may be.
Yeah.
So it's the same line. It was 28 against Northern Illinois, if I remember right. It was right in there.
It was close to this, yeah.
Are they gonna be ready? I don't know. You better stay away from it. I don't know what this Notre Dame team is yet. So 28 seems like a bunch to me.
There's no way I'm playing minus 28 Notre Dame. No chance. Now, I don't really want to take Miami of Ohio because the problem is Notre Dame's had their slip up, right? That they've done under Freeman every year. So I don't really.
Surely they'll be ready.
I don't think. Yeah, they're not going to sneak up on them. I would stay away from it. I don't love this one either. No.
Yep.
All right, let's keep going. This is a very interesting game. We've got Dennis here. He's our resident Louisville fan. Georgia Tech at Louisville this weekend. Of course, Georgia Tech 3-1. They did lose to Syracuse. Louisville's 2-0. Really haven't played anybody yet. Louisville 10.5-point favorite at home. It's a tricky number. You know, if it was 7, you really kind of lean maybe Louisville, but 10.5, can they cover?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's all going to depend. Can Louisville stop Georgia Tech's clock running? They like to run the clock, keep the ball. Can they stop them? If they can do that, I think they can cover. Dennis, with his comments, I would have to say that too.
Yeah.
I think I haven't seen Louisville at all. So I just haven't seen them. I do think they're good. They were good last year, and they've done what they're supposed to do in the first 2 games. Looking back on Tech's big win over Florida State, it doesn't mean anything this time. Syracuse seems like they're pretty good in the ACC. I can't take Louisville at 10.5 either. I would have to go with Georgia Tech. But again, I'm not going to bet this one at all because I just simply have not seen Louisville play.
Kevin B says Georgia Tech is a fraud, and I think if you view them as like a 9-win team type, they're not that. I think they're 6 or 7 win type team,
maybe.
So it depends on how you view them. I think that's kind of who they are. And a 6 or 7 type win team really doesn't go on the road and beat a good team. And you said it. The question is Louisville, are they a good team or are they a 6 or 7 win team?
Yeah.
That's the question mark.
It's a point spread. Like you said, if it was 7,
I
think I'd take Louisville and be pretty confident. I just, you just don't know. Georgia Tech might be able to control the ball.
Yep. It's too many points, but I would lean Louisville minus the 10.5. You made me bet it. That's who I would go with. So, all right. Well, we talked about Northern Illinois. Yeah. Well, they're ranked. They're number 23 in the country. They host Buffalo this week. I don't think Buffalo's terrible. Northern Illinois, a 14-point favorite. So can the Huskies keep it rolling?
Shouldn't they be favored more than that?
I don't think Buffalo's the worst.
No, they're not.
I would say that. And it's, a game in the MAC. They're always tough games.
Yeah.
You look at what Buffalo's done. They did lose 38-0 to Missouri. They beat UMass and they beat Lafayette, 2 teams they should beat. They beat them fairly easily. They didn't struggle in those games.
Yeah.
I don't think they're awful.
Well, if you're the number 23 team in the country, you should cover 14. I don't know if they are the number 23 team in the country. I
Right.
don't think they are at all. I think it's the stupidest pick I've ever seen to be in the top 25 just because you beat Notre Dame. Big deal. I think they cover.
I do too. I think they're going to cover this game. I really do. I listen. I don't think they're a nationally ranked type team, but I don't think they're bad. I mean, this is a school that usually is pretty good. Like you usually can look at Northern Illinois and say they're a good solid team, and they might be a little better than just quote unquote a good solid team. They might be able to make.
You don't go in and beat Notre Dame unless you have some players.
Exactly. That's it, and that's my point. Yes, maybe Notre Dame wasn't ready. They caught him at the right time. All this kind of stuff, but you still have to have players. So I think they're good enough to cover 14 against both.
I do too.
Give me Northern Illinois.
Me too.
All right, state of Oklahoma is where the spotlight is in college football. The two biggest games of the week, both happening in the state of Oklahoma. We'll talk about that other school, Oklahoma State first. They host the Utah this weekend. Oklahoma State, a 2.5-point favorite against Utah. A lot of that is coming from Cam Rising, and he's going to come back and play, but how healthy is he? Yeah. Can he last the whole game? What happens if Cam Rising's out? There's so many question marks around Utah because of Cam Rising, because it is a true freshman that will come in and play if Cam Rising is out. I thought Wilson was better last week. He still is not great, though. Thoughts on Utah, Oklahoma State?
Well, you can't bet this game because you don't know.
Exactly.
If Cam Rising does not play, Oklahoma State will win, I think.
I agree. And if Cam Rising plays but can't play the whole game, I think Oklahoma State.
So it just screwed up the whole game, really. And that's why they're favored, I think. If he was healthy, and he may not be healthy all year. We don't know. The guy just can't stay healthy. He's hurt a lot.
Yep.
They didn't go out and get a backup in the offseason. That was a major mistake, it looks like.
Well, in a way, Isaac Wilson is Zach Wilson's brother. He's very highly touted. It's just that he's a true freshman. In a way, like he's better than what they had talent-wise. Yeah.
It's really weird with Oklahoma State. Even last week when they killed Tulsa, Ollie Gordon didn't get it. I think he rushed for 59 yards last week. Mm-hmm. They can't get their running game going. No. And Utah is going to play great defense. Let's look at that total score. 52.5. Mm-hmm. If Utah wins, don't you think it's going to have to be under that?
I think the game's going under no matter who wins.
Yeah, I'm looking 24-20.
Yeah. Even if Isaac Wilson is the quarterback for Utah, I think Oklahoma State wins, but I still don't think it's going to be a blowout situation.
No, I don't either. I don't think even with Rising, I don't know how many points Utah's going to score. So I would take a shot at going under the 52.5 because I just can't pick the game when you don't know.
Yeah.
When Utah's most important player, whether he's going to be healthy or not. How can you pick it?
I'm extremely frustrated that Cam Rising is getting hurt again. And I'm sure he is as well. And so's Utah people. But, I bet Utah week 1, they covered easy. We bet them against Baylor. They're ahead 23-0, and they're just killing Baylor.
Yeah, and he goes
out. They don't score again the second half, and it ends up being 23-12. But people that didn't pay attention or watch that game, Utah was ready to go win 40-0, and he got hurt, and everything stopped. Last week, they got better. The second half, they kind of were a little better, but they weren't very good. I guarantee you, if Cam Rising was here playing 100% healthy, they would go beat Oklahoma State.
I think so too.
I'm not sitting here saying they blow them out or anything, but they would beat them.
It's probably a matchup of the two oldest quarterbacks.
It is.
They're going at each other.
No, it is. One of them's 24. One of them's 25. The combined age of these two quarterbacks is it's older than a NFL game we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
But back, if Cam Rising hadn't gotten hurt, I would hammer Utah in this game.
I would too.
Utah's a better team than Oklahoma State.
I think they'd be favored if he.
Well, that's the other problem. You'd probably have to eat a few points, but I can't bet Utah in this game and he play a quarter and get hurt. Like, to me, if I was going to bet, I would almost rather Wilson be the quarterback, and we know that, and then we can adjust and play how we want to play. But with all these injuries to Utah, and especially with Cam Rising, and just the idea of what if he plays a half again and we're up 10-7 or 17-7 at the half, and then they come back and beat them.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And I hate that about this game.
Me too.
Because I know for a fact, at least, I shouldn't say a fact, but my strong opinion is a fully stocked Utah is better than Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
they're not. So
yeah, I know. So again, I hate that. I have to just pass that game. But anyway, okay, let's keep going. Vanderbilt at Missouri. I thought this spread was interesting. Missouri, I'll say it, only a 20-point favorite. I think they should be favored by a little more than this. I think it helps that Missouri kind of played a game where they weren't their best last week and they still won. I think they'll be focused. I really like Missouri in this game.
Yeah, I do too. They got jumped on early in that Boston College game.
Yep.
Came back and won, which is what they were supposed to do. Yeah, they should have won by more if you're the number 7 team in the country, but they got jumped on.
Yeah.
They finally played somebody that has some athletes. Vanderbilt lost last week.
Yeah.
And that was a bad loss for them.
Yeah.
You had to have that game and didn't get it. I think they'll be a little flat going up there. Now, will Missouri overlook them? It's the only thing.
I think Missouri would overlook them if they would have beaten Boston College like 35-7.
I do too.
But I think since that game was close, and I do think Missouri will come out and play a better game because of that.
It's a conference game. I do too.
Yeah.
I think they cover.
Yeah, I do too. Give me Missouri to cover here. This is one of my better plays. Another one here. Miami goes on the road to South Florida. It's an interesting game. Miami's a 16.5-point favorite. They should win the game. I do kind of have this feeling with Miami of, okay, if we're kind of quote unquote for real type Miami, they should cover. If they kind of what they've been, maybe they don't type of situation here.
I agree. And South Florida went toe-to-toe with Alabama a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That score is not indicative of the way the game was. It was very close for 2.5, 3 quarters.
Yeah.
They have a good defense. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
16.5. If I was going to bet this, I'd go South Carolina plus 16.5 or South Florida. Yeah. Plus 16.5.
I knew what you meant. Yeah. It's definitely, I'm with you. I think that's the side to be on. However, broken record. I mean, it's weird. These games this week, I either love them or I just totally, there's no in between.
Yeah.
I don't love playing against how Miami has looked.
No, I don't either.
And that's kind of the flip side of it. So,
yep.
So we'll see what happens. But I get your point. I think that's the side I would take. But it's not one I love.
No.
All right, the big one. Let's go. College game day in Norman for just the 9th time. They've actually been in Norman. First time in a while since 2020. And they bring in Tennessee. Tennessee, a 7-point favorite here against the Sooners. Tennessee has been dominant. They have been unbelievable. Who have they played? Maybe not much. We'll see if North Carolina State can play Clemson close, and then that North Carolina State win will look better. What do you think? 7-point favorites. The Sooners are hardly ever underdogs at home, and they're hardly ever touchdown underdogs.
I think it's the first time they've been touchdown underdogs since 1997, I heard.
Yeah, on their home field, yeah.
On their home field.
Yep.
Well, really almost anywhere.
Yeah.
They're hardly ever underdogs no matter where they are.
Yeah.
Welcome to the SEC. It's probably going to be that way several times. But
yeah.
Everybody is bragging Tennessee's offense up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you just look at the stats, yes, but they beat Chattanooga. So what?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Division I teams that would have done that to Chattanooga.
Right.
Kent State probably would win 4 games in the Missouri Valley.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
you just throw that game out the window. I mean, there's nothing you get out of that game. So 2 of the 3 games they played are totally worthless.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the North Carolina State game was impressive.
Yep.
Because everybody thinks North Carolina State's decent, and they are, and they're well coached. But North Carolina State gave them some points, and that game got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Still a really good win for Tennessee. But they've got a young quarterback who has faced no adversity at all. I'm trying to give Oklahoma a chance here.
Well, look, I mean, the path to victory for Oklahoma is pretty simple, in my opinion.
Well,
you gotta hope that Nico struggles on the road against a much better defense than what he's faced so far.
You gotta hope the environment is going to make a difference with him.
The environment,
I think it would.
The environment for sure, and then the players out on the field being better than what he's played so far.
Yeah.
The path to Oklahoma to win the game is they're going to have to rattle him. He's going to have to make some mistakes.
He's going to have to play bad.
Yeah, and for Oklahoma to do that, they've got to make it one-dimensional. And Kevin B thinks Nico's a first round or a first overall pick in the future. I know Rodney is huge on Nico. The deal is maybe Oklahoma can catch him in the right moment. Maybe they can force him into mistakes. That's the key to the game.
Okay. He's faced no adversity yet.
No.
He's been up against inferior talent.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma will be far and away the best team they've played.
Yeah.
It's his first true road game.
Yeah.
The place will be bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of first-timers come in to games like this, and they don't play very well. Mm-hmm. So that's the hope for Oklahoma fans. The other hope for Oklahoma, they've got to be able to control the ball and keep the ball away from Tennessee. And I don't think they can. And I think that's the issue. Tennessee's front, everybody is talking about their offense, and no one's talking about how good they are defensively, which is not like a Josh Heupel team.
Yeah.
But again, they haven't played anybody, so you don't know. Now, what we've seen out of Oklahoma's offense is not good. Mm-hmm. They are going to get a couple of players back that will help offensively. From what we've seen, if OU's defense can hold Tennessee to 24 points, they still might not be able to score enough to beat them. That's the issue.
That's where the problem comes in. Everybody's saying this OU defense has to be great. Well, to me, what you just say, if OU can hold them to 24 points, they've played an unbelievable game.
I think so too, if he is as good as everybody says he is.
And I think it's more realistic that they hold him in the 30s. And
well, they're not going to win if that happens.
Exactly. And that's where the problem lies. If Oklahoma had looked pretty good offensively, I would have a lot more, a lot more confidence. Now, I do think what OU did last week is what they're going to do again this week. They tried to control the ball. They kind of scrapped throwing the ball deep and said, we're going to try to control the clock. And it did work, but that was Tulane and Tennessee. This is the matchup here that I don't think anybody's talking about. We know Tennessee's really good offensively. We know Oklahoma's pretty good defensively. I think Oklahoma will at least be able to slow them down some to keep them in the game.
Yeah.
This Tennessee defense has not allowed anybody to do anything on them.
And that's what's being overlooked.
Exactly. And I think that's going to be the key and why everybody's on Tennessee, including myself. I don't think Oklahoma will be able to score enough points. I think you will look up in the fourth quarter or well, maybe not fourth quarter, but in the second half of the game at some point and think, hey, if Oklahoma can make a drive here, they can win. But how can you have confidence that Oklahoma will be able to do that? That's the problem.
Well, and they're all saying, and again, these are pundits. These aren't coaches I'm listening to. And again, nobody can really truly evaluate Tennessee. They haven't played anybody. And you can see talent. Yes, obviously, they look fantastic.
Well, if Oklahoma can make it a close game, they theoretically should have the advantage.
Exactly. They've been in close games.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now they've been in close games against teams that you would also say they probably shouldn't.
Let's say a minor miracle happens and Tennessee gets the ball first and fumbles.
Right.
And OU goes down and scores.
Yeah.
It's suddenly 7-0. You got 85,000 people screaming in your face. You're an 18-year-old kid, 19, whatever he is. That's a tough thing. And then let's say they get a 3 and out.
Right.
OU goes down and scores.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
I think
Tennessee's not been in that situation.
You look at the upset OU pulled last year at against Texas in the Cotton Bowl. It was a similar line. I think Texas was between 7 and 8 point favorite pretty much the whole week. In the first drive of the game, Ewers throws an interception, short field for Oklahoma. They score at 7-0. All of a sudden, you're in the game. That's what's going to have to happen. The scary thing about it is, the flip side of it is, if OU gets behind, if OU is, it's like, what is that offense really going to look like?
Right. And the other thing I was getting at, and got to beat around the bush, all these pundits are saying if Tennessee has a weakness defensively, it's in the secondary.
Yeah.
I heard one of I think it's their play-by-play guy, said they lost like 8 or 9 secondary players either to the portal, graduation, or quit. So they've got like 12 new guys in there. Yeah. Well, the problem is Oklahoma hasn't shown they can throw the ball.
That's the issue. Like, so what Oklahoma did, I'm sure not a lot of people probably watched the game last week, but in the first half, OU played like super conservative on offense, and it worked. They were moving the ball, and Tulane adjusted in the second half and kind of started to stop them. So what happened? OU ran a couple of go routes. They had guys wide open for easy big play touchdowns, and Jackson Arnold could not hit them. And not only could he not hit them, they weren't close. And so then you look at it and you go, well, what's going to happen?
All right. The issue, you're absolutely right. But the issue with the Oklahoma offense is they can't stretch the field.
Right.
If you can't stretch the field, you load the box and you can't run the ball.
Well, and the problem, to me, the problem is going to be magnified even more because Tennessee probably won't have to load the box to stop them. You know what I mean? So they don't even have to commit that many guys that maybe a Tulane are used to.
They got NFL guys on the defensive line. So it's going to be Tennessee's going to have to help them, I think. Or Tennessee is vastly overrated because of their schedule, which could be. Yeah. I've heard everybody talking. I've listened. I'm sure you have too. We've listened to everything this weekend. We can get on this, or this week we can get on this game. A lot of people, are saying if Oklahoma had looked good offensively,
right,
we would feel a lot better about this game. And coming into the season, we thought this was a game OU would win.
Yes,
or could.
Yes,
but Tennessee has looked better than most people thought. Again, guys, they played jack shit.
Right.
Oklahoma, though, has looked worse. And their schedule's a little sketchy. You can argue whether they have a better win beating Tulane or Tennessee has a better win beating North Carolina State. I think they're equal. I think Tulane might be better than North Carolina State right now. The other two opponents, Temple, horrible. Houston will win some games. You wait. They weren't awful.
They're not a good team.
They're not good, but they play hard and they're well coached. And we played like shit and hung in there.
They're not good.
So the fact that Oklahoma has looked so poorly on offense is why this is a 7-point game. I'm with you. I'm taking Tennessee. I don't see any way OU wins.
The problem with all you said about Tennessee is you can say the exact same about Oklahoma. They really haven't played a schedule that much more difficult than Tennessee. So it's going to be the intangibles have to all go Oklahoma's way.
Tennessee's going to have to help them.
Yeah.
They're going to have to turn the ball over. It doesn't matter whether they turn it over or we can go score or they're going in to score and they fumble the ball and that kind of stuff. They're going to have to miss a field goal. Yeah. Stuff like that is going to have to happen. And he's going to have to not be quite as good as what he looks like he is. Our quarterback, here's on the reverse is he's going to have to be a hell of a lot better than what he looks like.
Right. Yep. That's the other part of it as well. I think OU will play a good game, and I think they'll get beat. So I'm taking Tennessee.
I do too. And I'm hoping that if they do get beat, I'm hoping that they did play a good game.
Look, at the end of the day, if Tennessee can go in here and win and they can keep going, this is a loss for Oklahoma that is not going to look that bad if they are competitive in the game, right? So
yeah, do you realize though how far we're falling? Because any loss Oklahoma has used to be looked at as bad.
I'm going to tell you something right now. If Oklahoma had looked good offensively the first 3 weeks, I totally would be picking Oklahoma.
Yeah, you're right.
But you have to realistically look at this and go,
right.
This offense has been abysmal, and there's not a switch you can flip to where it's going to look great this week.
Here's the thing that we said.
OU had scored, 35. If they would have beat Houston 35-12, and they would have beat Tulane 48 to whatever.
Yeah,
we would both be picking Oklahoma, but
probably.
You can't go into a game like this and expect to score 17 or 20 points and win.
And I hate to bring this up again, but this is the dangers of going from the Big 12 to the SEC. Wouldn't it be nice if we were playing Baylor this week?
No, it wouldn't. I'm going to flip it on you, and I'm not going to let you go.
Okay, I don't
go on. No, listen to me. Listen to me. I'm going to be very blunt with you.
Okay.
Have you been entertained at an OU home game in the last 10 years?
No.
Very few.
If they can pull this off, yes. This will be
fun. The value of our season tickets have been nothing.
That's true.
You could get into an OU game for $10.
Yeah, I got a little high price this week.
If you are Oklahoma, this is what you're supposed to be about.
Well, that's right. It's put up or shut up, right?
Exactly. You want games like this.
Yeah.
It's been so long since a name has come into Oklahoma. And again, I know a lot of people are going to listen to this and go, well, some of these Big 12 teams have been good. And it's not false. They have been, but there's a difference.
Oh, yeah.
When Tennessee and Alabama and next year, Ole Miss and Missouri and LSU and Auburn, ever since the Big 12 lost A&M and Nebraska and even Colorado to some extent, and even Missouri, it just hasn't.
No.
It hasn't been there.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is it's put up or shut up, right? We've got to start proving we're as good as they are.
As an OU fan, I'm excited for this game. If they win, if they lose.
On the way home.
Okay, but look, here's the deal. Think of like the Notre Dame game and the Ohio State game, games they lost.
Mm-hmm.
I remember those games way more than I do all those times they've beaten TCU and Tech and Iowa State. It's just, and it's not even a disrespect to those teams I'm talking about. It's just when you're Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I don't care if Iowa State's 11-0. You don't. It's just not the same as when the big programs come in.
It will be interesting to see the orange that's all over the place.
But again, that's how it should be.
I know, and they'll be everywhere.
We shouldn't go to a game and the other team has 3 fans at the game. Like that's what makes it what it should be.
Orange will be everywhere.
Yeah. So I understand the negative part of it. We're not going to drive home. And we won 51-0, but I'm just excited we have a real football team coming in there.
We got one.
So yeah, we do. And like I said, it's the flip side of it is much tougher game, but that's what Oklahoma should be hosting every year. They should have games like this. That's my point. So, all right, let's keep going. Bowling Green. We'll go from that to Bowling Green and Texas A&M. Bowling Green played hard and well against a Penn State team that we still not quite sure how good they are.
Right, but they played good.
They did. What about A&M? Can they keep this one close?
Well, again, look at that line. Are they capable of beating somebody? Well, I guess they killed Florida, didn't they? Mm-hmm. They may be a little down going into this after that Florida. I mean, you still go to the swamp, and even though they're not very good, that's still a good win.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a tendency not to play well in these kind of games. They got Arkansas next week. I can't pick them. I can't pick Bowling Green, though. Down there, I just don't know whether they can do it or not. But if I was going to bet, I'd take Bowling Green plus 23.
Yeah, I can't do it here either. I think I think A&M. I'm going to take A&M, actually. The more I think about it, I
They
just can't
should.
say Bowling Green.
No.
Yeah. I know, Kevin, I'm picking on Penn State and the Giants. Hey, hold on. The Giants are still coming. Just wait. That's where I have the most fun. I don't pick on Penn State much because, look, they're pretty good. Come on.
They are.
But the Giants, we'll have some fun with them in a minute. All right, let's go to Ole Miss and Georgia Southern as Ole Miss continues this powerhouse non-conference schedule they've had so far. They'll take on Georgia Southern, 36-point favorite for Ole Miss. You got to think they're going to cover.
What do you guys think? But are they getting bored? They may be getting some boredom down there.
They did go on the road at least last week, but
No, that was impressive. But
yeah,
what do you say each week? Okay, guys, Georgia Southern's coming in here now. They're 2-1. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Now, but to be fair for you, hey, will they be ready? Will they be bored? Will they overlook? It gets crazy for them after this game.
Oh yeah, this is honeymoon's over after this one.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Speaking of no games, how about this next one?
Yeah, next game here, Louisiana Monroe at Texas. Now, Louisiana Monroe is 2-0. They've, I don't know how, but they are. Texas, Arch Manning will be the starter. Ewers is hurt, so it's Arch Manning's time. He came in and looked pretty good last week against nobody. I'm sure he's going to look good this week as well.
Yeah, I would think they got a quarterback controversy brewing down there.
Yeah, in the weirdest way.
But I don't think it's a controversy. But
no.
They look awfully good at this point. Very impressive.
So they've got this one, then they've got Mississippi State. It sounds like Arch Manning going to start against both those teams, and then it sounds like Ewers will be back for the Oklahoma game. So
maybe it'll be a little rusty.
No, let's hope. Well, then they'll just put Arch in. So.
Right.
All right, let's keep it going. Let's go. Now, look, I'm very, very curious to hear who you're picking here. You love BYU, and you've cashed on BYU 3 straight weeks. Yeah. They host Kansas State this week. Kansas State, I thought they looked great against Arizona. What do you think? On the road here, KSU a 6.5-point favorite.
This is a tough place to go play.
It is.
BYU's defense is pretty good, but they haven't. Wyoming is awful on offense. Now they did go in and play very well against SMU, which has been a big disappointment.
Yeah,
I can't take them to win, and the line is just not quite big enough for me. I'm going to go K-State.
I think K-State exposes them because the thing I'm confident with K-State, unless they don't play well, which that's week to week, who knows? K-State will move the ball, and I think K-State will score enough to where BYU can't cover, or can't even cover the game, because you look at BYU offensively, they're not great, and I think K-State's got better athletes, so I got to take the Wildcats.
I wish that line was like 10.
Well, if it was 10, you would get a little worried. But I mean, you're talking. I'm sitting there going, K-State can go there and win by a touchdown if they play well. So. And that's where I'm at. They looked really good, I thought, last week.
Yeah, that was a good win.
Yeah,
especially after Arizona went down and scored right off the bat.
Yeah, and it was a really good drive, and you thought, okay, this can be a good one. And then it all
they never scored again. So
no, and they could not. K-State ran over them. So I think K-State's this is a good version of Kansas State. They're very similar every year, and they're climbing. This seems like a better version of what they are usually.
Yep.
All right. Any other games before we move on?
Well, I do want to talk about a couple of things.
Okay, go ahead.
Is the kid, and I don't want to mention his name because he's a college kid, so I can't pronounce it anyway. Mm-hmm. Is the guy at Florida State the most overrated prospect of our lifetime?
It might. Well, it covers a lot of ground, but it's bad. Yeah. And I don't want to put him down. He can't help it. He's not any good. No.
He's so slow.
It's bad.
And are they going to keep going with him? I don't know.
For as bad as it is, and it's bad. I mean, it's really bad. If they had any offense at all, they'd be 3-0.
Yeah, I know. He can't make a play. How many times did he get sacked because he can't move? It's really
Yeah.
interesting. I thought the big winner of the weekend was Oregon.
Yep.
They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They killed Oregon State.
I would say they did more than they were supposed to do.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I thought another big winner was Washington State beating their arch rival. They don't ever beat them.
Yeah, it was a huge win.
And they did. I think Kansas was a huge loser.
Yep.
I think they're done.
And if you watch that game, it wasn't so much, UNLV went in there great and beat them. UNLV didn't look very good either, And
then new category, leaders for the at-large team.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have two Mountain West teams that are up there right now. One's Boise State and one's UNLV.
Mm-hmm.
I think UNLV's got a little bit tougher schedule. But they do have Washington. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Boise State plays Washington State, and they play Oregon State, but they're both at home.
Yeah,
they do have to go to UNLV. UNLV's got Syracuse, and that's going to be an interesting game because that is at UNLV.
Yeah,
that's an interesting game. Syracuse, if they keep winning, that would be a good win if UNLV could get it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have they've got Fresno State. Boise State, I don't think plays them. So those two are right there, and then you got to throw Memphis in there.
Yeah,
they've got a good chance to run the table. They got the win over Florida State, which may or may not mean a thing at the end of the season, but it's still a name.
Yeah,
they got to go to Tulane. That's probably their toughest game left.
They also have to go to South Florida, and I don't.
South Florida is the other one.
Easy, yeah.
And then you got Liberty and Toledo's looking good too, but they don't play anybody. They don't have a big name on their schedule, and that could hurt them. But they might end up being undefeated, where these other teams might lose a game or two.
Well, you have to put Northern Illinois into the conversation
that's the other one
as well. Yep.
So, the MAC thing will play itself out. As it goes along. Liberty really doesn't. They have Appalachian State, but they don't look as good as what we thought they were going to. So. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I do think Boise State's got the inside track. They do have a loss, but it's not a bad loss. Mm-hmm. And they still got Washington State and Oregon State on the schedule that are, Power 5 teams. So it's going to be interesting to see who nails it.
As far as the MAC goes, Toledo does have to go to Northern Illinois. So that's a game that's circled. Also, Northern Illinois does have another Power 5 game. They go to North Carolina State. So
that's true.
There's trip ups there here in the MAC, so at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to come from the MAC because I do feel like that team will have to be undefeated.
They'll have to be undefeated. Yeah.
And I don't know that it's going to happen.
Since you mentioned Northern Illinois, they have the leg up because they beat Notre Dame.
They have the leg up, but they also have that game at North Carolina State.
Yeah. So if they go
if they were to win that one, they obviously would. They might be the team if they say they lost to Toledo, but they beat North Carolina State and they went 11-1. They could probably have the streak.
You know what? If they beat Toledo and they beat North Carolina State and they're 12-0, that win over Notre Dame, depending on what Notre Dame does the rest of the season, they go ahead and end up 11-1, and you got Northern Illinois sitting there beating them.
Oh, if Northern Illinois is undefeated, they're the representative, period. There's no debate. There's none. There's no debate. No.
That's right, because they're going to keep rising in the polls. So
absolutely. If Northern Illinois is undefeated, they're going to be in like the top 8.
Probably.
That. I mean, that schedule isn't – to go on the road, beat 2 Power 5 teams, one of them we think Notre Dame should finish pretty well. But look, I don't think that's happening. That's a long way.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It could.
But, it could. They could lose to Buffalo this week too.
They could,
right? So,
especially if they're quickly. Some other games. I'm really looking at this one. Iowa goes to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2.5-point favorites. I'm looking at the total score. I think it was 38.5. Now I can see 20-16, 17-14. I think that'll be low scoring. I'm not sure Iowa wins. Either. Mm-hmm. You always got to look at Iowa any week.
Yeah.
Kind of try to decide.
Yep.
California is a 2.5-point underdog at Florida State.
This is an odd game. Yeah.
Is Florida State ever going to win one?
Yeah.
Cal's undefeated.
I know.
Look at that, 3-0, 0-3. When's the last time you saw that? Two Power 5 teams playing each other, and the 0-3 team is 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, this is an odd game.
Are you going to keep picking against them? I went against them last week, and Memphis came through. It's hard to keep picking against Florida State, isn't it? It's just hard.
Especially at home.
I know. It's so tough.
Yeah.
How about TCU at SMU? TCU blew that game last week with Central Florida, had that game won. 3-point favorite. SMU's been a disaster, but
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Let's see here.
I feel like SMU, but they were so bad against BYU that I can't bet
They've
it.
been so bad offensively.
It's been brutal.
Yeah. Houston. I love them. They go on the road, go to Cincinnati. I think it's Cincinnati.
Yep.
If I can read my writing. 3.5-point underdogs. Do you take a shot at the Cougs? They're getting better. They played well last week. I can't remember who they beat.
I just can't do it.
Okay. How about Baylor at Colorado? Colorado 1.5-point favorite.
I would lean Baylor big.
See, I kind of like that one too.
I like Baylor in that game.
How about this one? Washington State coming off the biggest win they've had in a long time. They play San Jose State.
There's not bad.
San Jose State's undefeated.
Yeah.
13 points. Now it's 12.
It's probably too many points. Yeah. I would take San Jose on the points.
Maybe a little flat.
Yeah, I think so. I think they could be. And I think, are they really that good? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Washington's not that good. Washington and Michigan are in the same boat. They lost their building. They're not very good.
Here's another one. I watched go ahead.
Before you go on, I want to, because it's up on the screen. Dennis wants to know Oregon State -4.5 against Purdue.
That's at home too.
It's at Oregon State. I like Oregon State.
I like Oregon State.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I watched every bit of the Georgia-Kentucky game last week.
Yeah.
What a courageous performance by Kentucky.
Uh-huh.
How do they play this week? How do they play anybody this week?
I don't know.
Ohio's not bad.
It's a lot of points. 20
Can they beat them by 20?
I don't know.
I don't know how they can be ready to play.
I don't either.
I mean, it's not just the mental part. Physically, they went toe-to-toe with Georgia. Georgia did not dominate them at all. Kentucky should have won the game.
Yep.
Score a touchdown.
Yep.
One touchdown, they win the game.
I take Ohio in that minus or
Me
plus
too.
20.
I just don't see any way Kentucky is ready. Right. So if you're looking for upsets like that, and then Memphis, huge win. They got to go to Navy and face that option attack.
Yeah, it could be tricky.
The points, though, aren't enough for me. They're only 9.5.
Let's see. Yeah, down to 9 now.
Yeah, I'd have to have.
Yeah.
I'd have to have more than that. So,
yeah.
Anyway, might keep an eye on them, see if those point spreads change. So.
Michael says thoughts on tonight's game. South Alabama at Appalachian State. Appalachian State a 7-point favorite.
Well, Appalachian State got killed at Clemson, but I guess maybe throw that out. I think that line should be more than that. I think the fact that South Alabama scored 87 points last week has probably got something to do with it, but my God.
Right.
Again, don't play anything into that. I like Appalachian State to cover.
I do too. I would take Appalachian State tonight if it was me. Yeah. All right. Ready to go to NFL?
Let's do it.
Okay.
It's a train wreck for me.
NFL. That's right. And I love that we're always like an hour doing college football. And then we get to the NFL. It's like, all right, let's do this in like 5 minutes.
Well, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
There's not as many games either.
All right, NFL, it's time. And tonight we have the Patriots at the Jets. The Jets are 6-point favorites. Patriots have been okay, better than everybody thought. Jets have been okay, I guess. Mm-hmm. What do you think? 6 points. It's a lot in the NFL.
It's a lot. I wanted to take the Jets, but I wanted 4, not 6. Mm. So stayed away from it. I didn't make it a best bet. I thought hard about the under as well, under 38.5. I don't think New England's as good as they've been playing. So
No, I don't.
I think
either.
the Jets win, and I'm probably going to kick myself for not taking them to cover.
I would take the Jets minus the 6 if I was betting it. I can't take the Patriots. I still don't buy that the Patriots are that good.
No.
Okay, here we go.
Yes, get through
Giants. Yes, the Giants are back. They're 0-2. They almost won. They didn't, but they almost won. And they take on the Browns. What a attractive matchup. This is Cleveland, 6.5 point pick. Can Cleveland?
The thing is, the Giants didn't have a place kicker.
No.
He got hurt, which killed them.
Jinx. They're a jinx franchise.
They might have won that game.
And Kevin chiming in. If they had a kicker, they would have won.
I guess you don't have two kickers, do you? You just can't do that in the NFL. You can't have a backup kicker.
No, that happens sometimes in the NFL where you just don't have them. Yeah.
You just don't have them. And you can't take up a roster spot with a backup kicker.
Right.
And when does it ever happen? Hardly ever. I can't remember the last time the kicker was out. So that's bad luck. The Browns, 6.5. Anytime you take the Browns at 6.5, you're risking it. They should cover, though. That was a good win for them last week.
I told you they'd come back and win. I've watched the Browns enough to know, and I know in this game they're going to look shitty, and they'll probably win. I don't know if they'll cover. I think you got to be kind of nuts to play the Browns at 6.5, but I think you got to be nuts to play the Giants ever. So that's a conundrum in this game.
Yeah, I think so.
All
By
right.
the way, the kicker Washington had, Austin Seibert from Oklahoma.
Yes. Yep.
They signed him that week before, I believe, and he kicked 6 field goals, didn't he?
That's right. Seibert was the difference. An OU,
That's right.
OU grad. Yeah.
Yep. That's funny.
All right, let's keep going. Packers and the Titans. Oh, seems fun. The Titans are 2-point favorites. Why? I don't know. I guess because the backup quarterback's still in for Green Bay.
Well, they did pretty well against Indianapolis, and Indianapolis is better than Tennessee. So give me the Packers all the way in this one.
I'll take the Packers. That feels like a total trap, though.
Yeah, it does.
Let's keep going. This is just another great matchup. The Bears and the Colts. The Colts are 1.5 point favorites to get their first win. Caleb Williams has looked awful. Anthony Richardson looked okay first game, looked awful second game.
He is awful.
I mean, I guess I think the Colts are the play.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to give the game away.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 5 teams that are must-win games. This is one of them. The Colts have to win. I mean, because we're assuming the Colts thought they might contend for the division.
Yeah.
Some of these teams, like the Giants, sorry, I didn't list them because there is no such thing as a must-win for the helpless.
Right.
So the Bears are the worst 1-1 football team in the history offensively of the game.
Oh, they should have lost the first week. Yeah, easily. Yeah.
And Caleb Williams does look absolutely lost out there. I mean, he's got a deer in the headlights look and everything else. Yes. Yeah. One of my best bets, Indy.
I really like the Colts and I really like the Packers, so we'll see what happens.
I like the Colts better than I do the Packers because the Packers are on the road. So.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Let's keep going. Texans and the Vikings. See the jokes. Hold on. Now we got to stop. Kevin V says, I hope the Chiefs get their ass kicked. You all deserve to know this pain. Kevin,
we're not Chiefs fans.
We aren't Chiefs fans, so joke's still on you. All right, Texans and the Vikings are next. The Texans 2-0. They look very good. The Vikings are 2-0, and they've looked very good.
Yeah.
It's gotta end, right?
Well, I've got them on my category. Are they for real?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
But
they're hard to beat in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But Houston with only 2, don't you have to take them?
I took Houston.
If you like Houston,
but
you got to take them. I mean, it's got to win by a field goal.
I've been wrong on Minnesota back-to-back weeks to start the season, and not only have I been wrong, I've been very wrong, and not only
very wrong.
Is it not a 2-0 start. Kevin, when you see these, like the 2-0 start, sometimes that happens in NFL. It's a fluke. You look at these, it's like it's pretty. I mean, they've looked good. Like they've looked really good.
Yeah. And by the way, Kevin, I had the Giants over Minnesota in week 1.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there you go. That wasn't smart.
No, it wasn't.
Give me
Really.
Houston, though. I'm taking Houston.
Well, at 2, I think you have to take them.
Let's just be wrong again. Okay, let's keep going. Eagles and the Saints. And the Saints, the surprise team of the year so
Yes.
far. Well, other than the Vikings as well. But the Saints -2.5. What do you
Yeah,
think?
are they for real?
I don't know. They might be, but I don't think so.
So you're taking the Eagles this week?
No, I'll take the Saints.
Me too.
I don't think.
Okay.
Can I be honest with the Eagles?
Yeah.
I don't think they're very good.
I don't either. And the Saints have been unbelievable offensively, and the Eagles have no defense.
Yep.
I mean, I thought did they play the other night? That beat them? I can't remember.
Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
Yeah.
I thought Atlanta should have scored a lot more points than they did in that game.
Yeah.
Saints offensively are really good. I don't think the Eagles can stop them enough to beat them. And the Eagles have got a couple of injuries. I don't know if what's his name's back. Brown is back at receiver or not.
Yeah, they don't. We don't know yet.
It hurts them.
Yeah.
To not have him. So I like the Saints to win.
Yeah, I do too. All right, let's keep going here. God, this game is brutally hard.
This is an easy one.
Oh, easy. Okay, well, the Chargers on the road taking on the Steelers. The Steelers are 1.5-point favorites. You say it's easy. Go ahead. Tell me who's going to win.
Are the Chargers for real? Or is Pittsburgh for real? We're going to find out. San Diego. I'll say that till the day I die.
Yeah.
LA, easy.
I guess. I'll agree, but I don't know. I don't think it's easy.
Well, they only got to cover 1.5.
I know, but we'll find out. That the old Chargers would never go to Pittsburgh and win.
They wouldn't have gone to Carolina and won 26-3 either.
You're probably right about that, although that's a disaster. We'll talk about that.
Well, I know that, but still.
Yeah. Pitt, I don't know.
They're not that good. What's the over under?
35.5.
I think I'd go under again. Pittsburgh cannot win unless it's 14-10, something like that.
I think the game's good. I think the under's the play. I think the game will be 14-10 one way or another.
Yeah,
I really do. So I couldn't pick that. That's a tough game. I still can't get my mind to say pick the Chargers, on the road at Pittsburgh. So, but I've made money on Pittsburgh the first 2 weeks. I can't back them here, though. This is a much better team than what they played the first 2 weeks, in my opinion. All right, let's keep going. Broncos on the road taking on the Buccaneers. Buccaneers 6.5-point favorite after a big-time win. That was a huge win in Detroit.
That's right.
What do you think here? This feels like a trap to me.
It does. This is another game. They won one. When you're trying to win the division, and it looks like New Orleans is decent, you stole one in Detroit. You weren't looking to win that when you're looking at the schedule before the season starts, which you can't do, which we've proven over and over again. This is when you got to win. Yeah. You have to win this one.
Yeah.
So 6.5, that's the only. I think Tampa wins. I don't know if Denver's awful.
That's the thing. I think because Denver's so bad on offense, I think Tampa will cover. But it feels real trappy.
It does.
Yeah.
Because Tampa's not good offensively either.
Well, I don't think they're bad, but they're at middle of the road. Yeah.
And Denver's defense is not too bad. So.
Yeah, I could see this being like 21-17 and being real pissed. But Denver looks terrible. So we'll see what happens. All right. Speaking of terrible, this is a disaster. The Panthers have benched Bryce Young for Andy Dalton. I saw Baker Mayfield come out and support Bryce Young, and I thought that was good of him. He knows that situation there.
Yeah. That
being said, the Raiders got a huge win last week. I mean, a huge win against the Ravens. They're now 5-point favorites. I'm here to tell you the Raiders stink, but the Panthers are a total disaster. I don't know. This another one. It feels too easy.
It does, but you got to take the Raiders. They're at home.
You have to, but it does feel like it's too easy.
I know. I think the spread should be more.
It feels like it should be. But we know the Raiders aren't very good. But again, I think they cover. I do. But and it's also one of those situations you really want to bet the Panthers.
No,
I don't think
You're
so.
Fool.
All right, let's keep going. These games are just brutal this week. The Dolphins go on the road to take on the Seahawks. Seahawks undefeated, haven't played much. I don't know what they're really playing here either with the Dolphins. We know they have talent, but what's going to be quarterback situation? Seattle, 4-point favorite. Who you
Can
got?
this be more?
Seattle's
it's not easy to win in Seattle.
Seattle's not very good.
Well, who'd they beat last week? They beat
the Patriots.
They beat Denver. And who'd they beat the first week?
First week they beat the Broncos.
Wait, who'd they beat last week?
The Patriots.
Yeah, they beat two of the worst.
Yeah, that's just it. They did go on the road and beat
Miami's player. I don't like Miami at all.
I don't either.
I got to go Seattle.
Feels like a trap.
So it does, but they're hard to beat up there.
Saying you kind of have to.
I'm not betting them. I'm going with them though.
Okay.
I just say they're going to cover, but I'm not going to bet them.
This game again. We're a betting show. If you're betting a lot of these games, I think you need to check yourself into rehab because this slate this week is full of just disaster waiting to happen type games. In my opinion, these teams are just a disaster in different ways from being awful. They cannot get out of their own ways. So Baltimore at Dallas. Baltimore is a 1-point favorite here on the road. I can see why, but at the same time, can they actually go win this game? I don't know.
It's a must win. They can't
go
0-3.
But I think at the end of the day, Baltimore's a better team.
Are they the best 0-2 team you've ever seen?
No.
I mean,
no.
I'm
not going there.
They could have beat the Chiefs real easy,
mm-hmm.
and they let that game get away last week, and there's no excuse for that.
No.
Dallas, what was that?
It was Dallas.
That was embarrassing. But you know what? I don't think they care. I don't think they care.
They may not.
I think Baltimore beats them. But
I guess
I have no confidence. I mean, it's a pick 'em game, obviously. I don't know. I think Baltimore's better than Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it matters where Dallas plays.
Mm-mm.
I don't think it's quite a must-win for them because they did win the first week. But Baltimore's going to have – you can't start the season 0-3. It's hard to make the playoffs when you do that.
Yeah.
They need this game.
I think they'll win it, but it's a disaster.
Well, it's kind of an interesting game.
It is. It'll be a fascinating game, but when we're talking about betting that game, that's a tough one.
Yep.
All right, 49ers go on the road this week to take on the Rams, and the Rams are hobbled. They've basically lost both wide receivers that we thought would make a huge difference being on the field together. They're both out for a long time. So the Rams look like a disaster. San Francisco coming off of a bad loss, or at least a tough loss, let's say. They're 7-point favorites.
The Rams are desperate.
I kind of think, though, that San Francisco is just a little better, but 7 points is a lot for a division game.
It is. I'll take the Rams plus 7. I didn't like the way the Niners played it all last week. I thought they looked pretty bad, too.
So Debo going to be out for the 49ers most likely as well.
Well, and McCaffrey's out, so
so
kind of evens it up.
Yeah, okay, you convinced me. I'll take the points in the Rams.
I think the Rams come up with a great effort. I don't know if they win, but it's a must-win.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep. Okay, I think this is going to be a hell of a game. The Lions go on the road to take on the Cardinals. Cardinals got a big win last week. Lions a big loss last week. It's a 3-point favorite for Detroit on the road. What do you think?
That's a hard one. I want the Cardinals to win.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time they won one of these games, though?
That's the problem. I'm taking them, but that is the issue.
And they do it. That's the thing. And I don't like the way the Lions are playing. I don't think they've looked real good either week. They did win a good one week 1, but they should have lost. They got lucky. And then Tampa, they couldn't make a play when they had to beat Tampa. So I don't like the way they're playing. It's just, can Arizona win a game like this? I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to take them too. But this is a game I'm not going to bet.
Yeah, I took the Cardinals plus the 3. I believe in the Cardinals. I've been bullish on them so far. I bet them in both their games so far. And I'll take them. I'll take the points. I'm not gonna bet them straight up. Give me plus 3. I think they're just as good as Detroit. People are gonna go crazy with that statement. I really believe in the coaching staff at Arizona, and I think they've got enough guys. So I'm gonna take Arizona plus the 3. This feels like a total trap. The Chiefs go on the road to take on the Falcons. Even though the Falcons won last week, they really didn't look all that good. I don't think the Chiefs have looked very good at all, to be honest, the first 2 weeks of the season. They're only 3.5-point favorites. What do you think?
They're begging to get beat.
Yeah.
They should have got beat last week.
Yeah.
They won that game, and Mahomes didn't perform a miracle to win that game.
He has not looked good either game so far.
He really hasn't.
No.
They're not clicking. This isn't totally unusual though for them. They have these ups and downs through the regular season, so it's not unusual.
No, there's no reason to be concerned. No.
No. Would you like to be Cincinnati? Go in there and play as well as you did. God,
right.
Man. You had a chance.
I know.
You had a chance to go up 2 scores and put them away, and you couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get beat when you don't do that. I think the Chiefs come out and play really well in this one.
Yeah.
Because I think they're better than the Falcons. So, but it is a trap.
I'll take the Chiefs, and they'll win by 2, I'm sure. But
they should win by 7 at least.
No, they're a better team than them.
Yeah.
But again, I'm sure it'll be 20-17 or something.
They may get out on the road away from Kansas City a little bit and play. They may play better.
Well, I mean, on paper, this is the weakest of their 3 opponents so far.
There's no doubt.
The records don't show that, but I mean, that's kind of the reality of it. So
I think they should be favored by 6.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I'm going to take, I am fully ready for them not to cover, but
me too, because they do that a lot.
Yeah, that's them. Yeah, exactly. Regular season Chiefs, that's them. But I'm not going to sit there and bet Kirk Cousins to beat Patrick Mahomes. Who said it? Kevin O said it. I'm not going to do it. And even if he does it, I'm not going to do it. So there you go. All right, Jaguars at the Bills. I hate the Jags, so I'm taking the Bills. Just tell you right now. Monday Night Football in Buffalo should be wild. I'll give you the Bills to cover the 5.
And the Bills are good, so yes, me too.
I think the Bills are better than I thought they'd be, honestly, through 2 weeks. And the Jaguars, I'll never bet them ever. All right, final game. I don't know why we have 2 Monday night games played almost at the same time. Really weird, but the Commanders go on the road to take on the Bengals. Bengals 7.5-point favorites here.
They're going to be flat. Washington plus 7.5. I think the Bengals win, but I don't think they cover.
So Washington, Jaden Daniels is the only rookie who looks like he has a pulse so far. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. I'm worried about him. He's running the ball a lot. I think he'll get hurt eventually. I'm going to go Cincinnati in this game.
Well, they should, but I just think they're going to have a hard time getting over that Kansas City game.
It could be.
They played great.
But look, the Commanders had to go beat the Giants last week. So
yeah, I forgot.
That's not easy.
It's a huge rivalry game too. It had major implications in the NFC East division race as well.
It may be a little tired.
Well, they are in first place. Wait a minute. They're the only. No, they're 1-1. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dallas is 1-1. Yeah.
Well, so's the Eagles.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everybody's 1-1 except for the Giants. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but they were close, so it counts for something.
They didn't have a kicker.
Right. Yeah, if they would have a kicker, they would have won. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, that's the NFL. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the NFL?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah. The NFL is By the way, that kickoff rule is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
You don't like it?
Is it not odd?
It's odd. Yeah, it could be odd because we've seen something different for our whole lives, and now it's this. I mean,
But
that could be part of it, but I don't like
He's
it.
kicking in the end zone most of the time.
Yeah, it's not great. And we talked about this last year. It's like the NFL. I didn't think it was a very good year. I think the problem with the NFL is there's only a few teams that are watchable.
They're all just alike.
Yeah, like
there's no difference.
I think if you watch the NFL on the red zone, you like it. But I think if you are forced to watch a full game of the Giants versus the Browns, I think it's harder to like, I should say.
Well, there's too many penalties too.
Well, yeah.
They call too many.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't know, it drags. But there's no diversity as far as what the teams do. They all run the kind of same stuff.
I'm telling you, the red zone cuts out the garbage.
Well, you don't have all those commercials.
There's no commercials. You don't really see penalties because they don't show them.
They don't show them.
And they just show the big plays and when a team gets in a red zone.
That's what I watch, because I don't have a team. So
right.
I don't know. I some people are just the opposite of us. I mean, we love college football. I can sit on Saturday and watch any game. It doesn't matter. Last Saturday, we didn't go to the game. Yeah. And I started watching at 11 and I went to bed at midnight and I never hardly moved. And I watched any old game that was on. It didn't matter. They were all interesting to me.
To be clear, I will watch more of the Appalachian State South Alabama game than I will the pro game tonight.
No doubt. Usually I can say yes. Not sure tonight.
Well, I have no interest in the two teams that are playing on the pro side of it. That's part of it.
Well,
like if it was a better game,
Well, one thing about it, the Appalachian State South Alabama game will be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The other one is going to be all Aaron Rodgers this and Aaron Rodgers that, if Belichick was still coaching, they always have 47,000. And I'm not knocking either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The camera would be on him the whole time, and tonight it'd be, this Aaron Rodgers. He's just unbelievable. We'll have to listen to that shit all night long.
But the biggest thing is the Patriots. Why would I watch them? Give me one reason. Now, again, if you're a fan of the Patriots, I totally understand it. But why me that doesn't really care? Why would I want to watch the Patriots?
Well, I wouldn't watch either one of them.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, I guess, Aaron Rodgers, at least he's interesting, but it's just not. It's not for me.
I don't have anything to do, so.
I'm not saying I'll never turn it on. I'm just saying it's not. There's no way that game can hold my interest the whole game. No. Yeah. So it goes back to what I'm saying. If you're watching full games that aren't your team in NFL, it's really hard to watch them for a lot of the teams out there.
It is.
Yeah. Now, like the Chiefs and the Falcons that could be a game you can watch in full. Yeah. Some of these games, not really. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Cardinals, Lions. Well, I can watch. I have an interest in it though. This Ravens Cowboys game, that's going to be interesting.
That one's interesting.
But you just kind of scroll down. It's like, obviously we'll watch the Bucks because of Mayfield, but these games are just not. I think the Chargers Steelers won't be a great game, but it's an interesting game.
Yeah. The winner's in really good shape. In that one.
Eagles Saints, that'll be pretty good.
Texans game's kind of interesting a little bit.
Yep. So again, you kind of look at it's like about half of them. Bears Colts, I wouldn't pay $1 to go watch the game. I mean, I just wouldn't. Packers Titans will be awful.
Mm-hmm.
Giants Browns. Anyway, goes without saying.
Yeah.
All right. One thing I do want to bring up very quickly. Baseball, put them on the standings now. The divisions are pretty much taken care of, but the wild cards are tight. And this is why I really wanted to bring this up. We went over this 2 weeks ago, and this Detroit Tigers team, we didn't really even mention them. They're within a half game, and if the Twins lose today, they will be tied going into what basically is the last week and 2 days of the season.
That's right.
Unbelievable that the Tigers have a shot. Any thoughts on the wild card here?
they traded Flaherty or whatever his name is
I
to the
know.
Dodgers
I know.
because they thought they were pretty much out of it.
Yeah.
And they've made this run without arguably, well, Scooble's their best pitcher.
But the second best, yeah.
Flaherty was their second best pitcher. Very reliable.
Yeah.
Don't you know they wish they had him back right
man.
now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Minnesota's tanked it a little bit.
Well, they're hurt. Like Kevin said, they've got a lot of pitching issues.
Yeah.
And no major league team can survive that, And so that's,
the Royals are so streaky. They'll win 4 and they turn around and lose 4.
well, listen, the Royals, the Orioles, and the Twins, none of them can win right now.
No. And the team that needs their ass kicked, Seattle.
Oh, Seattle cannot win. Yeah.
They cannot score.
Yeah.
And the National League's red hot too. I mean, there's a race going there too.
Baltimore 2-8 in their last 10.
Yeah.
If they weren't so far ahead, they would be in big trouble. I still think they're going to make it because they're
going
so
to
far
make
ahead.
it. But I don't know if they're going to hold on to that number 1 spot.
Well, they might just because the Royals and Twins can't win either. I mean,
the Royals had a chance to catch them and can't win.
They had a chance and they can't win. So
yeah, the Orioles are really beat up.
And like I said, the Mariners situation, they're still 3 out. I mean, they're still in it, but yeah,
they can't score. Yeah. They had a game last night and couldn't get it. And then over here, look at the Mets. What a run they've made.
Yeah, so the Mets and Diamondbacks are now 2 games clear of Atlanta. You forget about those other teams; they're not close enough. But it's going to be very interesting to see. The Diamondbacks aren't playing great right now.
No, they're fading a little.
But so are the Reds a little bit, or not the Reds, the Braves a little bit as well. They're playing the Reds. That's why I said the Reds. But I think who you see in the slots, I think that's how it's going to go. I think it's going to be San Diego, New York, and Arizona.
I do too. Atlanta just can't get on any kind of a streak.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't have enough this year. The Mets are the team that's just come out of nowhere. And they're playing and San Diego too.
Mm-hmm.
They're both playing great right now.
I think as we get to the last few games here, the pressure is going to mount on the Mets. They have more pressure on them because of the market they're in than the other teams involved.
Yeah.
Can they keep it up? They are good enough, but can they actually go ahead and do it? That's going to be
their lineup's good.
Oh, they're a very good team. They're a very good team.
Are. They get the pitching. They're pretty tough.
Yeah. So here's updates on what's happening right now. And you can see the Twins do trail early in this game. It's just the top of the second. And again, if the Twins lose, they would be in a tie with Detroit. So we'll see what happens. Keep up on that game. The Braves are ahead 1-0, and then it's 0-0 in a game. The Orioles really need to win this game.
They do.
So we'll see. So that's give you a little afternoon action in MLB while you watch Blinkers Off later on this afternoon.
That's right.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that covers it.
All right. Real quick comment here. Mets get the Phillies, the Braves, and the Brewers to end the year. I don't like that for them. Here's the deal, though. The Brewers have already clinched.
Yep. Phillies.
And the Phillies are pretty much clinched. Now, the Braves, that's obviously a big-time situation. And again, just because they clinched doesn't mean it's going to be easy. I'm just saying that does help that it's not that meaningful. Although the Brewers and the Phillies are battling for, best record or getting second or third. So there's motivation there, but it's not desperation, I guess is what I would say. But it's not easy for the Mets. No. And again, and that's when the Mets, I still think they're shaky, even though they're in a good spot.
I'd be a little worried about Atlanta because when you go head to head with them,
absolutely,
that's where you can put them away.
Yep.
And that's who you got to worry about. So
absolutely, I agree. Yep.
You don't have to worry about the Phillies and the Brewers catching them.
Right.
What you got to do is beat the Braves when you play them head to head, and you should be okay. So, because you're going to you're going to win a game against the Brewers, you're going to win a game against the Phillies more than likely. Because, like you say, the Phillies are going to be resting some people.
Yep. Atlanta's
a couple of games ahead of the Brewers, I think, for the.
Yeah,
you got the Dodgers in there too.
Let's see. I forgot. I had that memorized. Let's see where we're at here. Phillies are 3 ahead of Milwaukee, and then the Dodgers.
1 ahead of the Dodgers. So
and 1 ahead of the Dodgers. So the Phillies, logically, the Brewers are probably going to be that third seed, and the Dodgers and Phillies are probably going to get the bye.
Probably.
They may flip flop as far as who gets first or second, but making up ground on the Phillies and the Dodgers, that's not easy to do unless they start to slide for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Very exciting time of year. Great college football games. NFL's always at least entertaining, and then baseball winding down. And the biggest thing of all, Kevin said it earlier. I want one more comment here. He's had so many, I can't find it now. But, here it is. NHL preseason getting ready to start as well. About a month away. We'll talk about hockey as well. So that'll be fun.
No question.
All right. We're going to get out of here unless you got anything else.
I don't. It's going to be fun to see this weekend with Josh Heupel coming back to town as the Tennessee coach. How do the fans? I think he'll get a standing ovation. I don't have any doubt.
Yeah.
He'll be welcomed back with open arms. It's kind of a side story to the whole show.
Well, I'll echo what Eddie Radosevich said on Sooner Scoop. He said, if you boo Josh Heupel this week, you're a loser. And
You're a loser. You're not an OU fan.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I don't think he'll be booed. Yeah, that's the side story for sure. That'll be fun. Look, we'll be back here next week, and we will either win the game and everybody's going to think, well, OU's really good, and or we'll lose. And it's just, how are we going to rebound to beat Auburn? That's
absolutely.
That's it. So,
and
that's going to be life for the next 9 weeks.
6 weeks.
Well, 6 weeks. Yeah, for sure. And then then the main game, and then 3 more weeks of it. So,
So because one last thing, one little crybaby thing. We've got to play number 1, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
No, it's
and that's not counting LSU.
It's a tough road.
It's a tough road. You play the number 1, number 4, 5, 6, and 7.
And we play Auburn and South Carolina during situations where they're sandwiched between huge games where you could slip up real easy.
That's right. We got Auburn between Tennessee and Texas.
Not fun.
No.
But we're going to find out who we are at least. So that's something, right?
We could go 7-5 and be better than a hell of a lot of teams in the country.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, nothing you can do about it.
We'll open it off with Boomer Sooner next week if we get it done. There's no doubt that'll be the opening to the show. So hopefully we do it, but I don't think either one of us are really expecting it. So if a win would be great. So we'll see what happens. All right. We're going to get out of here. Blinkers Off will come up at 2:00 Central, 3:00 Eastern. We'll be here with Blinkers Off a little bit later than last week, but we'll be here. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you back here. Hopefully we're happy next week.
This is due to Bet Sports.